All right. Hello, Libra. How's everybody doing? I hope that you're doing well today. I'm really looking forward to bringing through your totem today. I don't think I've ever used this one before. As I was meditating this morning, holly, the plant or the shrub, came to me. So we're going to be taking a look at that. I'm going to put little Apollo down here so we can get started and talk a little bit, thanks, buddy, about what's coming through today. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And every month, I like to guide you through all of the opportunities that are coming your way. Everything on my channel is really about empowerment. So what we're going to look at here basically is the guidepost for you. You get to make the decisions. I always open it up to you to basically be able to be the one that's in the driver's seat. So we'll be looking at what's available to you for the next 6 to 8 weeks. This is aimed for November, but we're reading here in October. And so a lot of the messages, particularly all of my channeled messages here on the table, will actually relate to what's going on right now. The way that I've organized this is going to be in a few major parts. So let me just talk about that so you know what's coming up. And I will always place chapter headings on the video, usually a few hours after it's live. So just be patient. It will not be a minute after because I have to go back in and tag everything. But it's going to be channeled messages at the beginning. Then we'll take a look at the Celtic Cross, which allows us to look a little bit deeper. The first part is me talking to spirit, and the second part is the cards working with us to show us kind of like what's available, what to look forward to, maybe what to avoid. Then we will take a look at the expanded forecast so that you can look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'll do a big idea, which is basically a quick summary in a couple of words. And then we move on to a new section, which is blessings and blocks, which allows you to really see something to embrace. And then again, something that may be avoidable, a potential block that you don't want to kind of run into. I will do, and then a couple of extra pieces, which is called the soul path, where I'll ask a question while you're voting on a couple of things that I think might be cool. So we'll do a viewer's choice poll in the middle. And then at the very end, we'll do a meditation, and I'll answer a final card based on your silent meditation, your silent question that you asked me. Okay? That's everything in a nutshell. Thank you so much. I already see a lot of lovely contributions and support. You guys were in here early. So thank you so much for the folks who gave back, especially Regina. I appreciate that. Everybody that's been able to give back, stick around until the very end, and I'll make sure that I call you out name by name and just say thank you and express gratitude. I like to not interrupt the flow while I'm doing this, but I do see everything, and I will say thanks at the end. If you would like to show support like those folks have, you can do so by clicking on the little icon that looks like a $, which is next to the emojis. And again, it helps this channel. It helps me buy some new cards and do more videos, which basically it's win-win for all of us. I also recently got a new pyramid, which I'll be playing for the sound bath today. This is a really cool crystal pyramid. So that's our new instrument that we've been using for the past month. So I will use that. And that's how I kind of put it back into the channel. All right. Maria is my moderator today. If there's any high-level questions, Maria Margarita can answer it. Let's get into your totems and talk a little bit about what's coming through this month, okay? So let me just open it up. All right. Your totem today, as I said, is the holly. Most of us recognize that as a lovely symbol of the holidays. One thing that's kind of interesting in my research that I found out is that there are male and female holly bushes. So there's a lot of trees out there or plants out there that kind of contain exactly what they need to make new plants, all in the same kind of flower. But this particular species has male and female, and they have slightly different flowers. It looks like the stamens are a little bit bigger in the male plants, and if you see berries on a holly tree, it's probably a female plant because I don't think the male plants are capable of that. So let's talk a little bit about how this is going to be an important factor for the month ahead for you. It actually is important. Okay, first, some fun facts about holly. It's been on the planet a while, not as old as some things, but about 50 million years old. And what I was saying here, I had to look up exactly how to say this word too. I think it's called dioecious. Do not, grammarians out there, don't get angry if I didn't say it correctly. I looked up what the etymology of that word meant, and it meant like two houses. So there's this partnership energy coming in, two houses or two different types of people coming together. Basically that, like I said, there's male and female. So partnerships, yin and yang. This is going to be a big piece of what's coming through for you, Libra, in the month ahead. The partnerships could be essential to different types of success and for different reasons. When I think of partnerships, it's not just love, but we will look at love. In addition to romantic partnerships, there could also be the benefit of having an outside perspective coming in. There could be error checking, which is also that external set of eyes sometimes. Just the fact that there is expertise that you may not have, specialized skills, right? I don't know about you, but I don't have plumbing skills. So if something breaks in the plumbing, I have to call a plumber or get my landlord to do that. And then also like division of labor. If you happen to be part of a big family or a company, or you need some help, you ask for assistance because you don't need to do it yourself, all yourself. So more will be done when you actually bring people in, when you lean on people around you and you let go of some of that burden, okay? One thing that's also very interesting with this particular plant is that it has this expert sort of protection mechanism set in. So many of you may be feeling this need to sort of like firm up protection in your life. So the holly does it through spiny leaves, which in my research I found there's more at the bottom than the top, which is interesting. Probably makes it a little easier for the birds to chill out at the top, and it kind of protects it from like deer and other things that might be trying to eat the leaves. The leaves are poisonous to most things, and the berries are as well. Certain birds can eat it, but what I found out is even the birds can't overeat it because it's almost like they get a little bit drunk off the fermented stuff that's in the berries. So basically the berries have adapted in such a way that they kind of get dispersed evenly. They don't get over harvested, and only the right quote unquote kind of insects and birds can be attracted to it. I didn't have time to get a picture of it, but there's also a certain type of butterfly, I think butterfly or moth, that's attracted to this. It eats the flowers or the young leaves. So this is a resurrection or a rebirth symbol as well. And of course it is associated with both Christmas and Saturnalia, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's hinting at some big shifts that are going to be coming through at the very end of this year. So I know some people want to hear right here and right now, but I sometimes get symbols that will kind of give you a marker. And so Saturnalia happened before Christmas. I think it was around the middle of December. So you're going to be seeing some big shifts happening between mid-December and the end of the year. And we'll talk more about that here as we're going through it. One of the things that I want to touch on before we talk about Christmas and Saturnalia and all of that is moderation is key. As I was saying, even the birds can't overeat the berries because there's a little bit of toxicity even for them. So don't over or underdo anything in your life, over or underreact, over or under plan. Try to hit the nice middle mark. So temperance and balance, of course, balance would be coming through for you, justice. So we need to have that sort of, the scales really need to be balanced for you this month. So take a deep breath, get the information that you have, and then try to do your best to not overdo it. Also, because we're talking about the birds here, get a bird's eye perspective or view of things. Step back. Get away from any sort of toxic people, environments, or habits. And between now and the end of the year should sort of be your goal to turn a new page or do something new. You know, we're in retrograde if you're watching this live until October 17th. I know many of you have birthdays coming up. So the end of October is going to be a really great time for all of us because I say us because I have a Libra placement in the sun. So I would say this is a really good time for you to focus on growth because you have no other thing to do right now but grow because of our symbols that are coming through with Holly and Saturnalia. We'll talk about that. And then also the fact that it's retrograde. So let go of the old stuff, focus on the growth potential, and really end the month on a high note because anything after the 18th feels really warm, feels really bright to me. So I think there's just another week here of kind of sorting through stuff. It will get better. And I am seeing sort of sunnier side of things. So keep on it. By the time November kicks in, which is when this reading is intended for, I think you're going to be in a really strong place. And it looks like it's going to go until the end of this year. So I'm happy with the end of the year. I know a lot of us have had a lot of challenges throughout 2021, but it's looking better. All right. I think that relationships, like I said, especially any toxic relationships, that stuff needs to be sorted out sooner than later because higher relationships want to come in. An improvement or an upgrade on your relationships. That's what I'm really seeing here. All right. So the spines on this, just like we had, if you haven't watched it, you should check it out. I did a weekend reading for the week ahead here. So every Sunday I show up and read for the next 7 days, and the cactus came through. For you, we have the same sort of spiny energy With the holly bush, not as bad, but a little bit more. Even their leaves have the sort of waxy protection that you would see on the cacti. So very similar totem. And so I'm going to pull one little thread from the weekend, especially for you, Libra, which is, you know exactly how to communicate. If you are pushed, however, if somebody gets you at the wrong time or does one thing too many, there are times sometimes where the communication can come through sharp. And if you ever want to do something to really shake someone up, you can do it because you know how to use your communication. So what I'm basically getting is like swords in reverse with this. So you want to soften the blow or soften the impact. It's good to be direct. It's good to be concise. Try to be cordial too. So starting off to basically check in and see how someone is before you begin the communication, because you may have everything sort of put into a perfect presentation, or you think you know how you're going to say it, but if the person is sensitive or they're not receptive to your communication, it's just going to be a lot to ingest at once. And so you want to be careful. The poison berry thing is also really important. You want to make sure that anything that you say or anything that you're giving someone else to digest, like listen to, watch, or hear, or read, that it doesn't have that sort of stinging effect. We want to heal, not hurt with our words. If someone around you is trying to do that, push back or let them know that now isn't the right time. So basically just being mindful of communication. I think, again, after the 17th, 18th, and later, things are going to be looking really good. So don't worry about it. But if you happen to be watching this before November, especially during retrograde, be mindful of that. Even next month, I think that you'll attract a lot more positivity by being kind and cordial, and then putting in your constructive criticism as needed. Looks like there's going to be areas where you have to say what you need to say. And I think that's important, and I would never stop you from doing that. But I do think it's important to use your Libra ability to really be kind and open and sensitive and empathic and diplomatic mostly, and figure out how to kind of weigh into that diplomacy, and it will serve you well. All right, protect things that matter to you. This symbol is all about protection, really. So this means that you want to look at your insurance coverage. You want to protect your privacy. Google yourself if you haven't, see what kind of information is out there. Take down what you don't need or don't want to have out there. Look at your intellectual property. If you need to get some sort of a patent, copyright, or other protection, make sure you're doing that as well. When I was looking in sort of like folklore and magic practices, what I found is this sort of symbol can also be used to ward off bad luck and evil and things like that. So I actually feel like the appearance of this in your life at this moment is telling me that things are turning. There's a corner turning. So if it's been difficult for you, if you've been experiencing some people that haven't been showing up the way they needed to, exhibiting things that we would see in tarot, like with the Seven of Swords, the Moon, or the Devil, hiding or not sort of being fully honest, we're seeing like a shift now. And also for you, there's an encouragement to lead by example. So just decide enough of that. And even you could just use those words with someone. We're not doing this anymore. That doesn't work anymore with me. Enough. And let them know without any shadow of a doubt that you are really ready to be honest and transparent. And if you do that, I think that you're going to really kick off a fruitful winter period here for those of us in the northern hemisphere, or summer if you're in the southern hemisphere. But basically, as we're looking at the next 3 months in particular, it's looking great. And I think that that's a really nice place to be for the turn of the new year. All right. If you are having difficulty with a partnership, don't force it. It's either meant to be or it's not meant to be. So if there's someone in your life, and for for all of your efforts, for all the love and energy that you're putting into something, you're having difficulty getting them to see it from your point of view, or if you're trying to initiate some sort of a partnership, if you're dating someone and it's like, why haven't they called? Why haven't they texted? They don't seem to be engaged when we're on the date. That is a clear symbol that you can and you will do better than that person. The same thing for those of you that are business people and you're looking at the partnerships that really matter. So think about how you feel when you're engaged with, maybe if you're a freelancer or a consultant, when you're engaging with these people. Does it feel good? Do you feel excited? Are they repaying you in kind with, proper compensation? Does it feel like they're listening to your advice? All of these things are going to be important for you to decide as the sort of investor, is this worthwhile? Are we both on the sort of like growing and winning side of the equation, or is it one-sided? So don't force things, and maybe rebalance things where it is just one side taking, okay? Let's now move into the next sort of part of this symbol, and then we'll go into some things that I got from dreams as well. As I was doing research, I was like, how did this come through for Christmas? It's a weird symbol. And so lo and behold, it actually is one of the carryovers from like pagan traditions and Roman traditions. So this comes from Saturnalia. Just like the bunny rabbit is not part of Easter and the Christmas tree, and there's a lot of other things, but berries around December actually came through with Saturnalia. So I know we're a little ahead of the season, but the symbol came through and I kept focusing, and my guides just kept showing me holly today. So I acquiesced and I decided to bring the messages through now. If you have Saturn in Libra, or if you're on your Saturn return, I want you to celebrate this period the same way we would celebrate a holiday, and celebrate the change and the growth and the good fortune that's going to come through, because this is a luck symbol. It is a good luck symbol. It is a symbol to ward off negativity or lower frequencies. So anything you're going through, try to find a way to celebrate how this will make you stronger, how this will make you more prepared, how this has enlightened you, and accept change, because Saturn, as you know, is a big teacher and it's relentless. So once we learn the lesson, it goes away. So understand the lesson, celebrate the lesson, even be grateful for the lesson, and then open up space for something better to come through, because it is. So as we're looking at October, November, and December, it's just a question of when. And each of you out there, depending on where it's going to be in your chart, could be experiencing this at a different time. So we're looking at a 3-month period of growth and change. Some partnerships may be coming in and out of your life, but mostly we're looking at the Wheel of Fortune moving in the positive direction. Okay, so I like what I'm seeing here for Libra. It is a period of shifting and movement, but you had a very protective symbol, which is saying that you are guided and you are protected. Okay, you could connect with Archangel Michael during this period if you feel like you connect to that particular energy, or you could use another deity or ascended master that you want to work with. But ask for some protection and know that you're going to be all right, and trust in that. All right, let's go into some sort of, for me, they're almost like vignettes that I get when I'm dreaming and I wake up in the middle of the night. And so I actually work through the night when I do these readings. I have a little phone by me and I'm tapping the notes in just to make sure that I get this stuff. All right, so the first symbol that I got is actually pretty spiritual. I was looking at someone cut someone else's hair. So, you know, we actually hold energy in our hair. For those of you, I used to have very long hair, actually, fun fact. But if you have longer hair, it takes a while to grow that. For some of you out there that might have hair down to your waist or something like that, it takes years. But think of all the energy that you went through in, over the years, and each sort of inch of that hair representing, months at a time. When you cut your hair, there's a reason that people do this, like as a reaction for breakups sometimes. Or there was that old sort of like song, I'm gonna wash that guy right out of my hair. It's literally because this holds energy. And there's been some really cool studies too with particularly First Nation or Native cultures that had longer hair. That was part of the way that they actually tapped into spirituality. And some of them were drafted into like US government for their tracking abilities, but they gave them like a haircut where it all, basically they'd have like a shaved off. They lost some of their abilities because the hair is sort of a connection to spirituality. But if you're looking to change something in your life, a haircut can help. You can actually cut some of the karma out, but don't cut too much. This is what I saw. The person went too short and the other person wanted to cry. So what I'm seeing here, and it's a good note for those of you that have stubborn hair like I do, where it's curly, or you have, you've grown your hair out and you want to get a change, just do a subtle change. Take off a couple of inches. Don't shave it all the way to the top. You can always take more off, but you can't put it back. So be mindful of others if you are a person that's helping someone make a change, and make small adjustments. If you just lost someone in your life, if you just divorced someone, if you broke up, if you just came into a large sum of money, if you're getting ready to retire, if you are getting ready to graduate, it's any big shift. And because Saturn came through, it's a teacher and there's big shifts. one of the lessons Saturn is bringing through this month for all of you is to be mindful of just sort of like small changes, ease into that energy of change, and you'll be okay. So little adjustments. If it felt good to cut it off here, maybe go a little bit smaller, shorter. Same thing in your life as you're cutting things out. You don't have to go quote unquote cold turkey and cut everything out at once. So one thing at a time until everything's clear, until you feel better. That's going to be a sustainable change, and you're not going to be feeling like the rug was pulled out from underneath you, or that you're having sort of like this regret, buyer's regret, or whatever. Okay. So small changes, small cuts, small trims in your life. All right. I also saw someone, and this was more of like a sporting metaphor, like they were on the bench. So a lot of times in baseball, I think, for instance, you'll see someone just sitting on the bench waiting for someone to get injured or for them to get pulled in. I think it happens maybe in football too. But basically the metaphor here is just about, if you're a leader in particular, a parent or a leader, have you benched someone? Have you put them into the sidelines? And are they waiting? Are they always waiting? Why is that happening? Someone in your periphery may feel like that. You may feel like that because a boss, a parent, a friend circle never quite includes you, or you don't feel like you're part of the team. So if you're not feeling engaged, it's time to find a team that wants you to play, wants you to be more active. Start your own team. Or if you notice someone that's being left out and it's not fair or it's not intentional, pull that person into the conversation, into the experience. So that person may not have the voice or the wherewithal to kind of say, hey, I want to participate, but they're probably showing it somehow. So be mindful of engagement. Engage others. Make sure even when you're having a conversation that they're not checking out or you're not checking out. Teams, partnerships, really important this month. The way that my guide showed me this was to clean out your closet. So for some of you, it might be stuff that you're keeping in there. It might also be clothes, but making room for someone or something else. So when we kind of get mired down and weighed down in all of the belongings from the past, we don't really tell the universe, I'm ready for more. It's sort of, you're starting to kind of fill up. So open a space in your life. It will actually symbolically do the same. Give some stuff away that you don't need. It's a perfect time of year for helping those that are in need. So if you know someone in your life that could use something and you're not using it, you could just gift it. If you want to donate something to charity, go for it. You might be able to, if you're just trying to clear energy out and you want to make a small profit, you could list something on Etsy or eBay as well. But just getting rid of stuff and making a little bit of space and saying, I'm ready to receive. I'm not even sure what this might be, but I'm ready for something higher, greater, and brighter than what I had here. So I'll hold a little space. Always good to have a little room somewhere for something, just in case something good is going to come your way. Refresh your wardrobe. A lot of us during COVID have been wearing the same things for a long time. Let's get some of that energy that we've been holding on to during the past 2 years out of our wardrobe. So this is a good time to do some shopping, especially if the previous season is on sale. Go buy some of that stuff. Or if you just feel like, I don't feel like this may not fit you anymore, it just may not fit your mood, buy 1 or 2 things. I'm not saying to get like a whole new wardrobe, but a great way to invite in a happy event is to go and buy a nice shirt, nice pair of pants, and say, okay, I'm ready for this, or dress or whatever, and say, I am ready now for some good news. I've got that just in case. And get something that fits you now and feels good, that you could go out and just feel like $1 million. It's also something that you can do to shift your energy someday if you're not feeling well. So don't go crazy. Just get 1 or 2 things, but put it in the closet for a good event, for happy news. And then keep me updated, but I wouldn't be surprised if something opens up because of that. Because when we open up some room in our closet, when we buy something good and put it in the closet, you don't have to spend a lot either. Go get something on sale, but just get something that you like. And this is going to open up a good news event, something that you can kind of wear it to. All right. You're also getting rid of old karma and energy. So a rule of thumb when you're picking up certain things in your life, you could just, it could even be something that you were gifted. You could say, how does this make me feel? Do I feel good about it? Do I feel bad about it? Do I have a memory? Was this the day that I spilled something and someone yelled at me? Or was this the day that I met my best friend? What's your memory attached to it? If it's good and if you like it and you smile, keep it. If you can't remember anything, or you're indifferent, or it's negative, you could probably get rid of it. Finally, and this is this is what it is. Prepare for a check-in or an audit. So for those of you that do something that's sort of process related and you work at a company, there may be a check and balance coming in. Someone may say, hey, did you do the research on this? Or could we look at this? I want to make sure, basically checking the math, making sure everything's all right. If you have, big company, make sure your finances are in order. The audit doesn't have to be like the IRS coming in or some governmental agency. It's more someone asking you for clarification. If you have it, you're good. You may have to look something up. I got the word audit, so that just means a checkup. It does not mean any bad news. So get your things in order, basically. That's why I was encouraging cleaning right now. I think that'll help you as well. All right. So really good stuff, actually, overall. As I'm just looking at these messages here, what I'm seeing here are big shifts in partnership. So I think some of you are going to decide to, maybe partner up with someone. It could be love, it could be business. Some of you may be dissolving a partnership and then holding space for something new or better. I also see this just the turn of luck, a turn of fortune coming through, a wheel of fortune shifting in the positive direction. And then we were just getting a lot of messages about making the changes one step at a time. The Fool takes one step at a time. You take a leap of faith, but again, how far you leap and how much you want to do that is up to you. So little changes are going to be necessary. Just keep rolling with the changes and assume that it's bringing you into a positive trajectory. All right. So I can't wait to see what else is in store for you, Libra. I'm going to stack up these cards here. If you did happen to miss anything or you just joined, don't worry. First of all, this will be available on replay. And also, I always put a recap, usually about a day or two after I do this. You can catch this on social media. So I will flash that up real quick. And I'm also going to pin a link. Usually I do that at the beginning, but I wanted to make sure that I started on time. So I'm going to pin a link right now where you can find me on social media. And also you can go to my website for more information. So quickly here, my handle on most social media is Nicholas Ashbaugh. And on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, I will post all of those handwritten cards plus a written summary. It does take time, which is usually why I'll wait and do like 2 at once. So this afternoon, that's what I'll be doing. And you can find all that information there. Sometimes you say, I can't read it. You can go to my website and you can read it there if it's not big enough on YouTube. And then also on Twitter, it's Ashbaugh. Okay. One other little public service announcement here. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up once. And please hit the subscribe button. We're really close to a new milestone. And once I have that milestone of 300,000, I will do a special video. We'll take a look at maybe some Q&A stuff that you guys ask me, okay? Let's turn the camera down and get started here. Again, this is going to be for the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're looking specifically at November, but for those of you that watch me all the time, some of this may resonate right now because you're kind of like one step ahead. So just be open and feel free to come back to this video as needed throughout the month. Thank you so much for the contributions. I noticed a few really, really generous ones, and I did see it. I appreciate it. Stick around until the end, and I'll make sure to call everyone out. Thank you. That helps a lot. That's going to help me get a few new decks, so thank you. There's the Wheel of Fortune, which we saw, which is great. Plus, we have a King of Pentacles right smack dab in the center. I'm using the Sun and Moon deck today, by the way. Here's the change. Energy of Saturn for sure coming through. Got a lot of reversals, but we're also in the middle of a retrograde, so there's nothing to fear. There's the partnership energy coming in here with the Three of Cups. All right, let's see what else is coming through for you. It's interesting, yesterday, there's a really nice connection between you and Virgo. In the Virgo reading, I actually had the heart come through, and I talked about the weighing of the heart in Egyptian mythology. And I said, some of you that have placements in both Virgo and Libra, you should listen to the Virgo reading because there was a lot of Libra energy that was in it, actually, about finding balance. But it's a lot of the same, what I'm seeing today with relationships. And I talked a lot more about the heart yesterday. So if you do have a Virgo placement, I would say focus on really making sure that you feel connected to something. This month for you, it is really more about engaging with some other people. So I'm interested in that. We have a lot of tower energy here with the tower here and the storm here, and this is in business. So we'll talk about that in a second. So yours is a little bit different, but it's always worth kind of like connecting with and seeing how there's some similarities in some of these signs here. So. And what a great card to come through for you, wind, air, activation. All right, you have some powerful cards this month, and I really like what I'm seeing here overall. All right, so we have the Heart Guardian here saying love and let yourself be loved. Again, a nice continuation of some of the messages from Virgo yesterday. And the heart, this is exactly as I saw it in my dream. I was watching someone put on like a coat or a scarf, and I was watching the heart beat. Not in a weird sort of way. It wasn't like a scientific one. It was more of a symbolic heart like this. And so for you, this month, there could be new love coming in for you. I'm going to read your heart a little bit different than I read it for Virgo. And if you're the big question that I'm getting as I'm looking at this is, are you ready? Are you open to receive? Again, if you're already in a loving relationship, this could be some sort of a passionate connection in your life, like a project, some good news, finding something else that you really want to do. Maybe your heart isn't in your job or your activity anymore, and maybe you and your partner want to focus on something else. You have to follow your heart this month, and you are protected in doing that. So it says, love and let yourself be loved. The biggest problem sometimes when love comes in is that feeling of, is it safe? Can I trust this? Am I worth this? Is this person out of my league? All of those sort of questions that we can sometimes psych ourselves out of a good thing. So don't psych yourself into a good thing. What if you say, I'm ready for love and abundance in the highest forms. I'm ready to receive this thing that I've worked so hard for, whether it is a relationship or this great opportunity. Ultimately, the heart is open. And this is the equivalent of an Ace of Cups upright. In the deep past, it's reversed. But basically, if we're looking at hearts, it's cups. And so this cup is ready to come your way. But are you ready to receive it is the question, Libra. So let's figure out what's going on here. The center card is the King of Pentacles reversed. So for many of you, if we're reading this as you, Libra, and then I'll read it as someone that might be in your life. If this is you, the King of Pentacles reverse is a decision to put a little bit of work, a little bit of energy, and reinvest in oneself. And it looks like, is this an elephant? It's hard to kind of tell by this illustration, but I would say you have what it takes now. No, it's not. It looks like it's actually, maybe it's a donkey. The card is a little difficult. Yeah, as I pull it closer, it looks like it's a donkey. What I would say right now for you, the most important thing for you to focus on is, I've worked hard for this, and it's okay for me to put this sort of reinvestment in myself. So for those especially out there who have raised a child, or maybe you're a child and you took care of an elder parent, or maybe you were like a bigger, older sister or brother and you took care of someone else. In this moment, the caretaking is on you. You get to actually lift yourself up. So the hardest thing sometimes is saying, it's okay for me to do this. It's not selfish. I'm actually supporting my own growth. So we're going to take this feeling of, I can't do it because I'm only meant to give to others, and say, well, if I start to do this, I'll have more to give to others. So if you want to go back to school, if you want to learn a new trade, if you want to somehow support or reinvest in your health and your happiness, this card is saying this is the perfect time to do that. This is also saying you are worth more probably than what's coming in. There may be people in your life that are taking more than they need to. So as an external influence in your life, and sometimes the center card can be that, that imprint from the external, there may be someone who never knows when to stop taking and has a hard time deciding when to give. So this is an important time for you to learn the word no, and to also, I would say, create a sort of new habit in your life so that people know where your limits are. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is exactly what I was seeing with Holly, with the symbol that was coming through in your totem. So we're seeing a turn of fate, a changing of tables here. If there's been someone in your life that just seems to be the golden one that always gets everything, what we're seeing right now is this is your turn for some good stuff to come through. Celebrate their happiness. Don't be jealous of it. This is your turn now, however, to start to feel growth and development and good things happening. Also, for many of you, there is a big question about career and purpose. So for those of you, it doesn't matter if you've been working a month, a year, or several decades. What we're seeing here is my heart into in what I'm doing right now? Do I feel this? So some of you aren't feeling it anymore. You're deciding, all right, this used to be enough, but now it leaves me feeling kind of empty. I'm ready now to change the cogs a little bit, to turn the wheel into a different direction. The wheel of fortune can also be like a driver, turning the steering column, or a captain of a ship turning that as well, turning the ship in a different direction. Just remember, it depends on how long you've been working or how big that career is and how long it will take. I recently rewatched the Titanic. I don't know why. I just felt like it. But I remember it took a long time for the ship to start to react. They didn't do it fast enough. So if you're trying to do a hard crank in your life and make it go into another direction, and you've been on one path for a long time, the movement takes a while to kick in. And then the realization that the changes happen can also be delayed, just like it was in the movie. So for you right now, this also happens. Let's say you've been in school for a long time, or you've just gotten out of a marriage, and there's this new you. It just happened because you signed a paper or you got a certificate. The realization and the understanding of now this is me, it's going to take a bit. And to be able to change directions, there's going to be varying parts of your life and your energy that are catching up to you. So you want to focus on getting everything kind of like together. Grounding yourself is going to be really important. And because I have a Libra placement, I understand sometimes we can get up in the sky. So let's make sure that we find a way to ground ourselves a little bit and figure out what's next. Not just what's happening, but what's next. So that's going to help you quite a bit. So some of you have been longing for some sort of passion in your life for a while here. We have the Ace of Cups in reverse. The very good news is for you, this is a card of preparedness. I'd love to see it upright. So part of what the illusion is for you this month is the understanding that Spirit already is ready to give it to you, but it won't give it to you until you either are not holding on so much, like, why isn't it happening? I've been waiting, is something wrong? Or if you think it's never going to happen, I'm not deserving of it. If you could just meet it in the middle and say, I'm ready now, but I got a lot I'm working on, and just kind of release the sort of struggle in either direction, this cup will go upright. So I see something really great coming through, some abundance. It could be love, it could be partnership for sure. It could also be a great opportunity. So there's big ace energy that's coming through this month. It came through with your first card here, which is the catalyst. And this is how you can connect to the highest energy. Just like the name implies, it gets things started. So if you can really open your heart, then the universe is already there. It's like, why haven't you been ready? Your cup's been facing the wrong direction. Some of you emotionally need to heal. Whenever we see a cups card, whether it's the ace or any of the court cards reversed, many of you have been giving more than enough, like 110%, which is a very Libra thing to do. You've been trying to help everyone in your life, listening to them, advising them, working really hard, trying to achieve. And at some point, you have to start to ask for what you need. You have to start to take a little bit. So I very rarely would say this for signs, but for you this month, take a little bit, receive a lot actually, and celebrate this. This is what you're supposed to be doing in this moment in time. You may be having a hard time letting go of someone or something though. So this could be something that you're very much attached to. The Tower is coming through to say the time is now for this movement to happen. We talked a lot about the weighing of the heart ceremony in Egyptian mythology here. I'm seeing the Eye of Horus or the Eye of Ra here, so we're going to just kind of tiptoe and revisit it a little bit. I mentioned yesterday about the sort of phrase heavy-hearted, or like my heart is broken, or I'm heavy-hearted. If you're heavy-hearted, in Egyptian mythology, there was a weighing of the scales where your heart was put on the scale, and then it was the feather of Ma'at, and that was justice. And if you lived a good life, all of your deeds were recorded in this. If the life wasn't so good, or if there was a lot of pain and suffering, the heart was heavier, and then it would actually go in the opposite direction. That would not be a good thing in Egyptian mythology. But thankfully, in today, what we can do is focus on balancing that out. Because if that happened in Egyptian mythology, basically your soul ceased to exist. If it went higher, you could be with the gods. If it was even, then you got to go to paradise. And that's a very sort of like Cliff's Notes version of it. You can listen to Virgo if you want the whole in-depth thing. But for you right now, if we're looking at this, my question, Libra, is your heart heavy or is your heart light? Does it feel better or worse as these changes are stepping in? I want your heart to be light. I want it to feel joy. I want it to feel balanced. So the changes that are coming through right now, this card is reversed, which means you're a participant in the change. You're not necessarily having to feel it all happen to you. You get to kind of make decisions with it. So I always like to refer this kind of like a surfer. You're surfing the energy of change right now. So if you can work with the change, you can end up on the sort of quote unquote winning side of the equation. You can balance yourself out. You can find your happiness right now. Your heart will go into a lighter space. That is what, my friend, October and November are opening up for you. Happier energy, more balanced energy, lighter heart. If something is falling away from you, it's probably doing so for a reason. So again, this can be a person, a project, even a habit in your life. If you no longer feel like you want to do it, try something else. Be open to the change, all right? Some of you are looking at moving, possibly selling a house, doing some repairs, fixing parts of your life that are broken, and really making sure that on a heart level, if this is broken, that's your number one priority this month. When we look at relationships, I'll help you a little bit more, but I like to get the bird's eye view first, okay? You've got a great card in your crowning position. This is why I read this as change for the better. Never fear the Tower or the Death card. It depends where it's placed. Recent past means you're working through it, or it's going to present itself shortly, but this is not the story of the month. This is basically a necessary piece. Saturn energy is coming through and saying, one more lesson to be learned. But once you learn that, good stuff. We've got the Three of Pentacles in the crowning position. It was reversed, but it is a good card. There was a really interesting piece that I didn't put in my channel messages, but I'm going to share it with you. So the person that was shaving the other person's head, so someone wanted a haircut, they were shaving it, then they actually spray painted stuff. It was like a wild sort of thing. So really interesting for me to see a street artist here spray painting. So some of you have an unconventional approach. Not everyone's going to get it. So it's still beautiful. So there may be a very specific thing that you're trying to do. This could be a procedure, a type of art, some sort of a theory. Whatever it is, it's off the wall, outlandish, just a little left of center. It's out there in left field. There's so many different metaphors I could use. Basically, it's not status quo, and people get scared with that sometimes. They're not ready for it. So get people one step in at a time. If you have something big that you're trying to share, a big idea or some knowledge, break it down in lay terms and allow people to find their way to understanding this. Whenever you have a really tricky conversation, what you want to start with is letting people know that you know where they're at first. So if there's disbelief in something that you have sort of suggested, what you would say is, I understand that this might be a little odd. This may seem a little bit outlandish. Hear me out, however. And then you can start to work in like how it's something that they can relate to. Ultimately, this card is showing me that you're primed to complete something. Recognition is overdue, however. So let's get out of this unconventional approach for the Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles typically means completion, higher education, and recognition. So for you, this is the sitting on the bench thing. Sometimes when you sit on the bench, you have to do something to show them that you're there. So that's why I think this person's spray painting and doing something kind of outlandish. So in that case, I think it's good to try to get the attention of people. I'm going to share like a little story or two here, but real quick. There was a couple of places that I worked at where I thought, if I just dress the part, maybe they'll notice me. Because when I started my career at the beginning, I was too young for a title that I should have gotten. But I had all the qualifications, but they wouldn't do it because of age. So ageism, basically. So I thought if I just dress more appropriately, that will help. That wasn't enough for that. And then I had another time too, where a similar sort of thing happened. So dress is not enough. Even just showing the ideas or pitching the ideas won't be enough. I was also at a meeting once where I was giving out great ideas, but they were all being shot down. And eventually I just thought this isn't worth it. Sometimes people are afraid of change. It doesn't matter if you're perfectly qualified and perfectly positioned for that. You may have to find a different place to do it. Maybe this person couldn't get in a gallery, but think of like, is it Banksy? You can be well known just by painting on the streets. So you can find a different medium, find a different audience, change the delivery method, and go somewhere where people pay attention, right? There's a different way to get this done. But I do see value, and I do see preparedness and ready, okay? Thank you so much, everybody, today for your really kind contributions. I appreciate it. All right, so now the question is, do you believe in yourself? What happens sometimes when all of those folks are kind of, chipping away at our self-confidence is after a while, you have to rebuild. That's why the tower is coming through for you, Libra. It took me a while, let me tell you. It doesn't matter if you're in a bad job or a bad relationship. It can have or a bad family. So if anyone around you tells you you're not enough or quiets you or hushes you, we talked about shushing people yesterday in Virgo. This holds true for Libra as well. There's a lot of overlap between your two readings. But if people in your life told you to be quiet, or that you weren't smart enough, or you weren't tall enough, or young enough, or old enough, or this enough, or that enough, you start to... This is a weird thing, even if it's not true, it sits in your head. I had a family member who had a really difficult time yesterday because people were mean to them. And you remember that stuff, even though it doesn't hold validity. Mean words do sort of ricochet. So I want you to let it go this month, today, not even this month, like today. You're going to realize I'm stronger than that. I'm more than that. And that person was projecting to me their own insecurity, and they were trying to push buttons. Sometimes, especially if you're in an argument, people it's kind of like a madman trying to push all the buttons to see which one's going to kind of get you to react. So guess what? You deserve to be happy. We have happiness as the caption on this. We've got the 9 of Cups, and we see someone here against all odds walking on water, or maybe just getting out of that, surfing the energy of the tower, like I say sometimes in a tidal wave, or not a tidal wave, but just a wave. Basically you want to do that. Don't crash and burn, surf. And that's really what this energy is about for you, okay? We do see a happy ending here coming through. This is the near future. So I think there's some good news right around the corner for you. The card is upright. You have a lot of them reversed today, but this one's not. So you get to end on a really positive note, which is whatever you're going through, if you have to step away from someone, if you have to say goodbye to something, you will be happier in the long run, even though it is not fun to go through that situation. Tower events never are. They're usually, the only time that they're fun is when you're moving and you're moving and it's a big change and you're a little bit afraid, but it feels cool. Or the first day of school, or, when you're getting married and exchanging vows and there's butterflies. Those sorts of tower moments are good. But a lot of times when we have to experience a tower that happens, it's sort of like, I have to deal with this and it's hard. It's the Titanic, right? Changing the wheel, but the ship doesn't move for a long while, and they're like, come on. And then it still crashes, right? Sometimes you can't avoid the tower or the crash. And maybe that's why Spirit wanted me to rewatch it. So be on the outlook. The reason that happened in the movie was those guys were goofing around and paying attention to Leo kissing instead of looking at the iceberg. So keep your eye on what's going on, and I feel like you can avert some of that, and you'll be aware of some other things that are available to you. All right, but ultimately, this is a sunny side of the street and a silver lining card. We have the happiness card here, okay? So I feel like this is going to be the month is going to end on a really good note for you, and I actually think the year is going to end on a really good note for you. So let's focus on moving through the shifting energy of the tower. Let's turn the wheel towards the direction that you want it to be. And if someone won't recognize, celebrate, encourage, or be there with you, find someone or something that is going to be more deserving of the hard work that you've done. All right. Moving now into you this month. Good time for ideation. Write it down. Ace of Wands reverse. You're overthinking some things, Libra. Go figure, right? But don't overthink it. Feel it, record it, move on to the next thing. Intuition doesn't like it when you over intellectualize. So for me, even when I got the totem today, I'm like, is there anything else? I feel like this should be a December totem, not right now. And Spirit then was like, crickets, nothing. Not giving me crickets, but like I didn't hear anything. So I said, okay, I acquiesce. We'll do that. And then the channel opened up and I got all this information again. So if something comes to you, honor it and go with it. I feel like if you're a creative type, you might be getting some outlandish ideas this month. Go with that. I want you to also keep an open mind. Ace of Wands is the least sort of closed of all of these. If we went from like ace to page to knight to queen to king, it gets increasingly worse when those cards are reversed, more closed-minded. So for this, it's telling me that you might be surprised by either what you feel or think or what's being presented to you. It's a little bit not your normal way of doing something. But that left of center stuff, like I said, is what's going to ultimately make you recognizable. It's that defining or singular trait that you need to show to the world, right? All right. Yay for this. This is the partnership energy. And we see more than one partner coming through with this. So I will go in great depth when I look at love in a second, but just kind of looking at this in your environment, it portends good things. The card is upright, which means that you don't have to stay on the bench. You're part of the in crowd if you want to be, or you can find your own crowd and be happy. So we see people that are interested in spending some time with you. If you're looking for love, this is very positive. If you're in love, it's probably a really good time to spend time with your partner. They're thinking of you, you're thinking of them. There could also be a third party that comes into the picture. They don't seem so disruptive. This might be a chance to take a trip with someone or to have a small gathering. Obviously, we're all still being smart about the pandemic, but small groups with the Three of Cups, where everyone understands how protected they are, et cetera, is okay from what I'm seeing. There's not a lot of, if you are dating right now, this is very much a fresh beginning. It's not a card where you're sort of like, I use different metaphors where it's picking out China or, getting a joint account. This is not that. This is like first, second, third date, or you've been dating for a while, but you haven't basically said that you're exclusive. So there may be some questions like, how serious is this going to get? But right now, what I'm seeing basically is that people are interested in you. You have options. You can be discerning. And it's a really good time to use your charisma and your energy to connect on a heart level with people. And it says right here, love and let yourself be loved. This is very compatible. Catalyst card, how to get things started. Environment, people are knocking on your door. All right. So I like what I see here. And I guess the question for you is, are you receptive? When we look at hope, spheres, and opportunities, we have the hidden blessing card. You'll see there's a little tiny cup flying in the air. She only sees what's in front of her. But that card in the air is saying, everything you've done has brought you something that you missed. There could be someone in your life that you can't make happy. You could also be someone where you don't realize just how awesome this moment is. This card actually has a caption of luxury at the top. So there's something even more than you would imagine, better than. I was talking to a client the other day, and it was kind of like an epiphany for me with the Four of Cups. It's almost like a genie gives you 3 wishes and you want an extra. That's the 4th cup in the air. There's so much. You can do so much with what you have, and you have so much to be grateful for. You don't need to wish for that extra wish. So 2 or 3 is enough. You can wish for the genie's freedom if you want to on the 3rd. But 2 or 3 wishes is enough. And you've got a lot to be grateful for. And there may be something that you didn't even expect or ask for that's right there. This cup is reversed, and it's the universe saying, what do you want? I've got more. I'm ready to give you if you're ready to receive. So perspective, let's talk about it in different terms. Shifting your perspective and seeing what's available to you is so important this month, because if you stop focusing on one thing, something else will open up. And again, to that family member that was dealing with things the other day, it was difficult because I was trying to show that there was other things opening up, but you can't discount someone's pain or frustration, and I can't discount yours. But I can tell you that there are things to look forward to. There are happier days ahead. It will get lighter from here, but you have to sometimes just exist in that moment. We all have a bad day. The question with each new day is, are you going to carry the baggage over, or are you going to get proactive and start to shift and crank the ship? The sooner you crank it, the less you're going to go into that iceberg. Maybe you won't even hit it at all. So again, let's move directions and let's move focus. Your final card could be a partnership for some of you, because we have a king and a knight. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, just as an aspect of your personality, I'm looking at a very stubborn energy with this Prince of Pentacles. We have, for some of you, you may also, like me, I have a Taurus placement. So I see the bull here. It could also just be, Libra can get stubborn. We don't need a placement in Earth to be stubborn. So I would say one of the things you want to be mindful of, again, is even though you may be right, or even though your method may be perfect. If you try it a different way, you could get a result that you didn't expect. There might be something new that you learn. It might help the other person see that there was wisdom in what you had to offer. So maybe humoring someone else and not kind of sticking your heels or hooves in so much will be important. You may also have a really strong Taurus in your life, because I looked at this and I couldn't stop looking at the bull. So for some of you, there's a Taurus in your life that just has to have their way. And I guess meeting them in the middle is going to be the important thing with this, okay? For you, this is showing me that there's growth. So this investment card at the center is actually showing me some growth and a return on that investment. For love and partnerships, very similar energies here, very similar energies. So I like it when I see two of the same suit. This shows me that it feels comfortable. The problem with this, though, when we get two earth signs that are reversed, sometimes they're not willing to give, or they really are trying they're looking out for themselves. So for you, because you are air, we're going to look at this as aspects of personality. So what I'm seeing is both of you have a lot at stake. The partnership that wants to present itself, whether it be business or love or something else. What I'm seeing here is that you both have a big stake. It means a lot to you. So I think understanding that you can make this win-win, that it can be 50-50. This is a little imbalanced for my liking. This is, I want to see like a king and a queen. When we go down tonight, we're seeing someone who might be wielding their power a little bit more than they need to. So remind yourself that in any future relationship that you want to negotiate equity. And I think that's the most important thing that I can kind of discern from those two. So in an existing one, in future ones, across the board, equal. You deserve an equal seat at the table, basically. Okay. So these are the main messages. We're going to extend it now to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. I just need to take a quick drink of tea here, and then we'll go into the next portion. All right. Each of these is multi-part. When we look at health, this is going to be mind, body, and spirit. So we have a really abundant card here coming through for health. We have the meadow, but then we have vulnerability. So many of you are feeling sensitive. This makes a lot of sense because your totem this month was a protective symbol. So we're getting holly in there because of the spines and the poison and the waxy leaves and this sort of like very uber protective energy that would be something that could thrive, but also not have to have let anybody in. However, everything about this month is about partnerships and other people coming in. So the vulnerability for you is to figure out how to firm up your sort of self-confidence. And I mentioned defense. Like if there's anything in your life where you feel like you need to have an external opinion, if you're going to go out on a date, maybe it's more comfortable if you do, if you double up with someone and one of your friends and you go on a double date, or you have a friend at the restaurant or something, checking out the person that you're going to have a date with or something like that. Get some help. Find a way so you're not feeling vulnerable. In other relationships, like if you're in a relationship, even though this isn't love, it's still, we have a lot of relationship energy. So I'm going to hit on it this month. You might be feeling like, I'm afraid to show that part of myself. The only way a relationship is going to last is if you are transparent, if you are vulnerable, if you open your heart to the other person. If they reject it, you know that they've got the work to do, not you, because you put yourself out there. So this card is really encouraging you to get past this feeling of I'm vulnerable and it's not going to be okay. Find a way to make it feel better for yourself. The vulnerability in health is going to take on a different connotation. So if we're not looking at relationships or emotional sort of things, what I would also be saying with health is, where are your areas of vulnerability? I'll be using the cards here in just a second, but vulnerability could mean, like, for those of you, I've had one ankle where I had a couple of sprains. I'll always have to take extra care of that because there's a little bit of scar tissue there. It doesn't grow back the same way. If you've had a broken bone in your life, you know that part of your body is just a little weaker. You can feel the weather, little things like that. So what parts of your physiology are vulnerable? What sort of family traits did you inherit? So maybe there's something like diabetes or heart disease, or another genetic trait or marker that you have to be mindful of. This is just telling you to listen to that, okay? Otherwise, we see a lot of abundance here. So emotionally, if you can get past the block, we see a lot of growth. If you have a vulnerability, heal it, work on it. We didn't get any negative cards. The Tower, if it's going to come through, you're going to feel it at the beginning of the month, but then everything, you kind of like firm it up after that. Let's look at some health messages here, specifically with the cards. It's time for moderation when it comes to diet and drink and anything that you're kind of putting into your body. Unfortunately, the King of Pentacles is not known as the most sort of like, he has a hard time saying no. When it's reversed, he really has a hard time saying no. So for some of you, there might be some stress, eating, drinking, smoking, etc. going on. And this is just about finding balance, okay? Pulling back a little bit, doing what you need to do. And that's basically that message here. I want you to focus on balance. Some of you may have some issues, like I said, with your legs or joints, whether it's knees or ankle or legs, anything basically in lower extremities. Focus on balance. The Tower can also come up if you're caring for somebody that has issues with maybe it could be kind of like Alzheimer's or dementia or even like inner ear issues. So just balance overall can take a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to just be bones. So focus on making sure that a trip or a fall doesn't happen, or if something's kind of already happened and it's out of control, number one focus is going to be to bring it into balance. Let's see what else is coming through. Again, this is a card of going a little bit over, especially with consuming too much drink or too much sugar. So focusing on moderation is the number one message that I would say for you. Yeah. You've got all the markers here for too much. King of Pentacles reverse, 9 of Cups, 3 of Cups, and the Tower. So finding balance and finding moderation is key. I think those are the main messages here. The other thing is some of you are internalizing things quite a bit. So talk to someone. Ironically, there are no swords. So I'll take a look at that when I do the soul path question. I'll take a look at why no swords. I'm actually going to write that down. So Libra, normally you're very communicative. And so some of you may just be holding things in. Maybe you don't have the same social outlets that you had before. So I'm going to focus on this in just a few minutes here, but I'm going to find out what's going on with communication. But if you have this ability to just talk to someone else, maybe someone outside of your family or friend group, I think that's going to be good. And then anybody here that's worrying about, I think someone's worried that they're not going to be okay or whatever. The changes are going to happen at the beginning of the month, and I see shifting towards the positive. So remember, the Tower's in the recent past, not so much in the future, not so much the main focus of the month. The main focus of the month is recognition, partnership, and finding things that make you happy and opening up to the happiness. So for many of you, the big shift is within. Overall, this is not a bad card. This is just focusing on firming up those parts of your life that feel like you're vulnerable, okay? Looking at wealth, this is where the change is happening for many of you. So we have the Storm Spirit here coming through with Chaos. This is a new deck, by the way, so thanks everyone that contributes. I was able to get this. I like this illustration. Definitely Tower energy. We see the lightning and thunder from the Tower card here. We see the Tower in the distance, actually, right? So for many of you, this is you see a storm coming. The question is, are you going to stick around? If you're in a workplace where you can tell that there's a change of the guard, there's a merger, it's going out of business, there's going to be layoffs, it could be any of those, or you're internally feeling like this place is not me. I need something that's more organized, that's less chaotic. So you're either going to be the storm or you're going to experience the storm. Why not be the storm? It's a lot more fun. So let's bring some order to the chaos and basically get into a place that feels better for you. So it feels like if you're in a current job or career path, a necessary shift has to happen. Maybe you're ready to step up a level. Maybe you want to transfer, move to another division. Maybe you're sick of doing what you're doing and you just need more challenge. So all of these things are going to require communication, which is the missing piece this month. If you are a consultant or looking for work or working a couple of jobs, the schedule's a little nuts. So it feels like some of you just need to limit how much you're giving to your clients or how many jobs you're working. You may not be able to do the third job. We'll have to find some balance. There's too much chaos in the schedule. And so finding more order and saying yes and no so that you're not burned out is going to be key. I don't want you to get burned out, okay? The cool thing with the storm spirit is not all storms are bad. Not all change is bad. So if you've been pushing and pushing and pushing and you think, when can I make the shift? You can make the shift right now. We've got double towers here. So I feel like if you're ready to make a big change and move in your life, especially with Three of Pentacles at the top. You're going to do it. It might surprise people. We also have the Wheel of Fortune smack dab in the center. I'm not worried about finances for you this month at all. You're going to find a way to improve it. So there's something better. And you can either be the agent of that change, or you can wait for it, but you have to somehow kind of be aware of what opportunities are around you. Something has to shift with work, all right? And for those of you that I was talking about the audit coming through, clean up your files. This is something where, like, if I get the Tower in the environment, I can usually tell that people have a messy environment. If I'm getting it in work, I think the files, the computer, nowadays it can even just be your hard drive. Are you one of the people that has everything on the desktop, like 500 files? Let's get a way to kind of like organize that, especially if you have to get stuff ready for taxes. Do you put everything to your download folder? Do you just keep it all in email? You need to have some duplication, some backups, and some organization, all right? That may be all you have to do, all right? Just a little bit more organization. For those of you that said you need more work coming in, change the way that you're working. I saw that there in the chat. So if something's not working, stop doing it the way that you were doing it. So there's a lot of different ways that we can market nowadays using all the different social media platforms out there. Change also the tone of your messages. Change. You just have to change it up. So if it is broke, you should fix it. So if it's not working, try a different method and bring a new sort of vision to the way that you're interacting with people. Change the software, etc. Wait until after the 18th, though, of October, since we're in the middle of a retrograde. And trust me, I've been helping some people out with some technology stuff, a couple of family members, and it's a hot mess during retrograde. You don't need to, like, sometimes it works out, but if you can avoid it, avoid it. We're 1 week away, so just put that purchase off, put that upgrade off 1 week, and then get it together, unless there's a security issue, and then obviously you do that now. All right, let's focus now on the next thing. One last thing, by the way, if you aren't getting enough for any particular reason, negotiate. And I did give some negotiation tips, I think, in yesterday's reading, but I would say sitting at that table and really knowing what your best and final is going to be important, and believe it. One of the most important things that I can relate to both you and yesterday to Virgo is you have to believe in your worth in order to make that change happen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution. I really appreciate it. I think that's the highest I've ever received. So thank you, Akamom, or AKA Mom. All right, so I will say thanks again to everybody at the end today. All right, let's look now at relationships. I know that everybody's really curious about and concerned about relationships in each and every month. So let's look at the 3 different facets. We'll look at those that are in love, those that are looking for love, and those that are single and happy, but still curious what's going on with partnerships, since that's an integral part of this month. If you're in an existing relationship, it's actually not bad. We see some evenly met people, like I said. If we just look at it independent of signs, we're getting 2 strong contributing partners. I would say one's giving a little bit more than the other. I would say both of you are also very much in your own worlds, your own silos right now. So getting out of the silo of work is going to be important. Work and money can actually sometimes be that 3rd cup, because it feels like, have you ever been jealous of your spouse because they spend more time with their work friends than you, or something like that, or your partner, your boyfriend or girlfriend? So sometimes you could just feel like, I want to be just including them. So if you're the partner that works a lot, invite them to, the company events, or to, if there's a drinking event after work or something, bring your partner along, let them meet the people, let them put faces with the names, and then maybe bring some balance, take some days off, take a vacation, make sure that the partnership energy is balanced out. There's a move. Some of you are trying to decide, should I sell? Should I stay? So for those of you that own a house together, or maybe you have a new baby and the place is too small, you're looking at up or downsizing, or just moving. Also, it just may feel like the relationship needs some firming up. Whenever the Tower card comes through, a lot of times there's a chance to just kind of like figure out, what are we looking for? Are we on the same page? Does this still feel right? So just spend some time with your partner. I think that's the most important thing right now, because it feels like you're being pulled in other directions. All right. This can be a little tricky for existing partnerships because it came through in the environment. I just told you an unusual interpretation of that, which could be like work or other friend circles. They need to be brought into that. You could have a partner that's jealous, or you could be the jealous partner. I'm not seeing anything here to necessarily be overly jealous of, because I predicted partnerships would be coming in. So we didn't get like moon or devil energy that would kind of contextualize that Three of Cups as something bad. So if your partner's never given you a reason to be concerned, just try to get a little bit more involved and see what's going on, and take it one step at a time. Don't jump to a conclusion, because I read that energy a little bit differently. But if there is someone else coming into the picture, then this is something you have to deal with. It just doesn't read that way right now, but it's possible because there's a lot of you tuning in. I see this more as inclusion, making sure that someone's included in your circles of friends. And I think you can manage that. All right. So if you're looking for love this month, the interesting thing for you is, do you have time for it? Because as I'm looking at all of these sort of cards here, it feels like a lot of energy going into work and money. And in fact, there's a lot of pentacles. So some of you are like full-time students or working nonstop. Maybe you're writing a curriculum or finishing up a project or a thesis. I forgot to mention that with Three of Pentacles. Really good for those of you Libras out there that are in writing and communications. So that looks great. But it also means, like, where is there room for this? I think that if you're looking to meet someone, the good news is just going to a social event is going to be like the key way to do it. We've got the Three of Cups, would be like friends of friends. And there's a lot of options for this. We have Ace of Cups, Nine of Cups, and Three of Cups. It's not going to necessarily, this partnership may not meet your expectations. They may be younger or older or from a different country or whatever. There's something atypical. But if you have the chemistry, then go with it, okay? We got so much earth energy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Taurus, especially with the bull that was on this final card here. So you may have a really strong earth sign that's coming in. It's just a matter of opening yourself up to expectations. It does look like there's a good sort of physical connection, but what I'm not seeing right now is this sort of, I don't know if that other person is serious. So I see like a nice transitional relationship that's coming in, but it may just be someone that you're dating, and it may lead you to another relationship, okay? If you are single and happy, if you are divorced or widowed or just not looking for love right now, let's focus on partnerships, friendships, and how people will be interacting with you. It's really good for money this month for all Libra, but especially if you're not focusing on partnerships, you're really well positioned. If you negotiate a little bit more, you can get a little bit more because you're coming through as the King of Pentacles, but you're only showing up as the Knight of Pentacles. So I think you have an opportunity to renegotiate, to find something new, to get a new job, to sell something. It feels really good for that sort of stuff. So your negotiation and diplomacy skills are going to help you financially this month. You're still going to have some invitations to some events. You may have a new friend coming in. There may be someone that's kind of flirty with you too. Don't send mixed signals. If you don't feel it, don't do it. I should have said that for those of you looking for love too. If it just doesn't feel right, if you're really looking for certain attributes, characteristics, personality types, etc., and you're not getting it, just be honest with that person, okay? Overall, it's good for Libra this month. There will be people coming into your life. We have love almost on the first card, basically, that I pulled, all right? So it's just a question of where does that fit into your puzzle piece this month, okay? But I really see good negotiation skills. I see strong earth energy coming in. And I see, even if you're not interested, new love and friendship. So no matter where you're at, I see new people coming into your life, all right? Cool. I didn't even read the card because I said all of that. View from above, get the big picture. So for you, if you're kind of mired down in the little stuff, like you're focused on, just like I missed the big picture, ironically here, I think it's important for you to figure out how does this all fit? Where am I at? Have you ever lost yourself in a relationship or a job and you kind of forget where you are? So I think the most important thing for you, Libra, and it's good that we're kind of ending with this relationship note, is look at how far you've come. Look at who's around you. This is a great way to get gratitude and get sort of like stable, and then figure out, how does this relationship, this partnership factor into the future with me? And some of you have to figure out where you're going first and kind of like get that journey underway before you bump into the partner if you're looking for one, okay? All right, let's focus now on your final card, Destiny here. We have activation, and that's a great way to sort of wrap up the extended forecast. We'll be looking at other things here, but you are air, you are wind. And that's why the storm energy doesn't freak me out so much when I'm looking at it in your recent past and also here in your work energy. So the change that's happening is change for the better. You are like the wind. You're that activation. So are you ready to do this? It requires communication. So I want to figure out how the communication is going to happen. Some of you have kind of chosen a nonverbal route this month for some reason. So we'll see if that makes sense. But I will say the 2 towers with the wind card portend good, maybe a couple of series of changes that are coming through. So one could be in your environment, and then one could be, job or relationship or something else. So be ready for the change. Like I even put that in the cards here. I said kind of like celebrate the season of change here. And if you look at it as that, I think it'll be kind of fun for you. So, and also kind of releasing the old karma, that's also really important too. Okay, so let's focus on the next portion of the forecast here, which is going to be blessings and blocks. All right, so blessings are exactly what they sound like, something to look forward to. Sometimes they come in the form of a mixed blessing. So let's just let Spirit decide what this is going to be, and we'll go from there. All right, blessings for Libra for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Oh, before I do that, I think I kind of said the big idea. The big idea this month before we look at blessings again is creating the change in your life, opening yourself up to love and deciding where you're going to put yourself out there, because it does feel vulnerable sometimes to kind of like express who you are, right? So that's the big idea, just as a sidebar. Now we'll look at blessings and blocks. So the blessing for the month ahead is, we've got 2, so we'll honor that. All right, so you have a double blessing. And they're both reversed here, but I'm just going to read them as energy that you can step into. So the pace is going to pick up for you. I saw someone saying things were kind of slow. So careful what you wish for. The 4 of Swords reversed can show sometimes that there's so much going on, or there's, so many things that you're trying to balance that you don't have enough time to sleep or to rest. Some of you need to make time for that rest, because you will find that you are more productive, that you're more able to fix the problems. So enjoy the rest while it happens. And if you're busy, lean on other people, because the energy this month was all about partnership. Looking at the other blessing coming through, we have 8 of Pentacles, which is a nice complement to the 3 of Pentacles energy. 8 of Pentacles is something, again, that you decide to take on. It's learning, it's apprenticeship. This card is mastery. But for some of you, you've decided now you want to do something else. You want to go back. You may also decide that you're going to enter into a mentorship, because this is mentor, this is mentee, this is learning, this is completion, this is the recognition. So you're going to reinvest in yourself, and it's worthwhile. Anything that you want to put back in yourself, I definitely see. And when I'm saying that, I mean sort of like education, training, extracurricular activities, conferences, all of that stuff is going to pan out well. You have good money cards this month, great money cards. It looks like you're going to be firming up financials or resources. It's not always money. It can also be sort of like human resources and support in your life as well. All right. So your blessing this month is things are going to pick up. And if you decide to work on something, you're going to get a return on that. Let's take a look now at your potential block. Now we got the devil. All right, this is limiting thoughts. So the interesting thing with this devil, we also see the lovers. And a lot of times people forget that the devil and lover card, it's the same energy expressed differently. So we kind of turn things inside out or upside down. So with the devil reverse, what we're realizing here is I don't need to put those limits on myself. If someone truly loved me unconditionally, they wouldn't put those limits on me either. If someone says they're going to do something and they don't, I don't want to keep doing that. So for some of you, there's a revelation of a conditional energy. Someone that says, I'll love you if you did this, or if you could just do this, it would be perfect. Or why can't you be more like your sister? Why can't you be more like your brother? Parents, be careful of that. And if you're the brother or sister that the parents said that to, they didn't know what they were saying. That's nonsense. It's because you're you, and they should be grateful that they have you. And you know, just disregard it. They're hurtful words, but that's them trying to kind of put a condition on the love. I would love you more if you would do this. Why can't you just listen? So we have to stop putting conditions on others, and we need to push back when people put conditions on us. The answer to this is if somebody comes forth and they're vulnerable, and they say, this is a part of me that I want to share, you could say, well, I love you and I'm so glad you shared it with me. Let's talk. Tell me about it. How was that? And that shows unconditional love. So just be open. You don't have to have a solution. You don't even have to have an opinion. You just have to be present and listen. And that shows like a big heart. So if you didn't get that with someone else in your life, you'll find it. And that person didn't understand what they had, okay? For you, don't overcommit, Libra. You always want to please sometimes, but you have to sometimes just say no. Because what we see here is a web, if you look really close at the bottom of this illustration. So we see a web, and we see someone up here trying to kind of trap you in that web. So you're going to free yourself of this web and say, no, I can't do that. I won't do that. That's not right. Or we need to renegotiate. This is a contract that's not fair. So if someone's trying to get you to sign a lease where it's way too long, like a 2-year lease, or they have really crazy language, like if you're a minute late on it, you're going to be charged this amount of money, don't sign it. If your working contract is in such a way that you're expected to work too much, or you don't get overtime or sick pay or whatever, get the contract where it needs to be. All right. So there is an avoidable trap, if you will, in a contract. So revise that contract. Find a way to redline it and say, no, not this, not this. And that's the most important thing. Okay. Let's put a few things up there for you to discuss. I'm going to definitely look at communication. So that's the soul path question for me so far. Let me take a look now, and I'm going to write a few questions for you to vote on for the viewer's choice. So let me just get my keyboard set up here. For those of you that are watching live and using a computer or a mobile device, you should be able to vote on this once I put the poll live. So just give me a second to set it up. So we're going to do a viewer's choice question. And the first one that I want to look at is what we just talked about, which is avoidable traps, or we're going to put that, avoidable traps or wrong turns. We'll just see if there's something that we can do to get you out of that. The other question that I have here is, we have a lot of tower energy coming through. So navigating change / embracing change. And I always like to do 3. So the third one here is, I'm going to talk about communication. Let's see what else. I think opening up to love, and maybe even if this one doesn't, I feel like this one deserves its own. So I'm going to do opening up to love because you had so much about that. Let's see. Activation. We're going to actually use the wind activation card here at the end. So where to activate or focus energy. Your energy this month. I'm limited on characters. So there you go. The poll is ready to be voted on. You should see it momentarily in the upper right corner on desktop. I'm not sure where it shows up on mobile, but you should see it, and there'll just be options where you can click and vote. So while you're doing that, I'm going to take a look at 2 soul path questions. We're going to start with, why did we not get any swords? So important for Libra. We got everything else but that. Wands, cups, and earth for sure. All right. So let's take a look at communication and why it didn't appear, what you need to do maybe to more effectively communicate. All right, we have the Emperor card. The Emperor, you got a lot of reversals. I'm not worried because we're in a retrograde as I'm reading this, but the Emperor card for many of you can be someone else who shuts you down and won't let you speak. It could also be just owning. Some of you are afraid to say it because then there's ownership associated with it. Like, if I say this, people are going to hold me accountable. You should want to, or be excited to have people recognize your ideas because they look valid to me this month. It looks like you've actually done your research. So just do your research and make sure that you get credit for it. This is the message here. Those of you that might be shadow writers or a staff reporter or an administrative assistant or a personal assistant, somehow kind of like in a supporting role, but your voice and ideas end up filtering to a leader. Eventually, this needs to be attributed to you, unless you're happy being behind the scenes. But this is basically showing that there's more weight to your thoughts and energy than people might understand. Look at the little bees on this too. I feel like, again, once you start to do that, people are going to be very much attracted to your energy and want to be more a part of that. So you're like the queen bee, and there's all these little tiny bees that want to come through. So don't underestimate your voice or your power. Okay. Look at the, and I would say you are the source. The buck stops with you. The emperor basically is the ruler, but there could be someone in your life that's blocking it or taking credit for it, and that needs to shift. Opening up to love, since love was a big message this month. How can you love and let yourself be loved? Just to kind of look at the caption here on the catalyst. So love and let yourself be loved. Let's see if there's a message on that. Okay, so many of you are afraid of what might happen, afraid that you might be rejected. So there could be fear of rejection. You could also be on the heels of a breakup, or you had such experiences in the past that you just don't want to basically go through that again. So there's fear or residual energy. You may also be experiencing some arguments with a friend or partnership in your life, and this is making it hard for you to feel good about things. So if it's quote unquote the one or the right one, that kind of energy shouldn't exist. Don't hold yourself to an unrealistic expectation. Don't let someone else do that, and walk away. This is the toxic berries on the holly bush. Walk away from that kind of toxicity in your life, okay? So this is about making sure that you don't feel like it's okay or that it's always going to be that way. You can definitely walk away from that energy. All right. So for those of you, by the way, that are asking where's the poll is in the upper right-hand corner on desktop. I'm not sure where it appears on mobile, but it should be prominent. I'm going to be ending that poll in a moment, so hopefully you can find it in future videos. I do a live poll every time, so you can't use it on a console or a TV though, so just heads up. All right, so we're going to end the poll now. It looks like where to activate or focus on energy was the winner by 44%. Thank you to the 104 people that voted, but yes, where to activate or focus your energy. All right, that's good, because your final card, your destiny card, was activation. So this is sort of like where's the good news and where's the opportunity. And yes, for those of you that don't have chat visible, obviously you're not going to see it, so you have to be able to see the live chat. All right, so let's take a look now and see where can Libra activate over the next 6 to 8 weeks. What's the opportunity? We have the King of Cups here. It actually is in love. Surprise, surprise. And this card is upright. You had a lot that were reversed today, but this is not. And look what we have in that cup. We have a little Cancer energy. So for some of you, there could be a lovely water sign, ostensibly a Cancer, that is coming in and saying, hey, I can help you out. Hey, let's see what's going on here. I'm also looking at movement here. So the big opportunity for you is to feel what you want to do and to act on that feeling. Act on your emotions, act on your intuition, and start the movement. Knights do not idly sit by. They fight for what they want. They move. They act accordingly. You elevate emotions. So the big opportunity for you is to activate the heart space. Does not have to be with another person. It just has to be something that you want to do, and do it. Don't wait for someone else. Interestingly enough, someone else may come in. We have Cancer showing up in the cup. So today, I saw 2 different signs featuring prominently in your cards. We saw Taurus for sure, and we also see Cancer. So you might either have placements in those 2 signs in your larger chart, or you may have some individuals coming into your life helping. And in this case, the water sign would be an activation. So looks good to me. I feel like for many of you, love is coming in. You also have a chance to get people excited about what you're doing and what you're saying. Even though we got very few communication cards this month, you did show a lot of power and strength, and many of you may benefit from writing it down and speaking from a script. You know, there's different ways of doing it. I don't read verbatim what's on the cards. I just need something to kind of jog my memory. And this was the card I was looking for earlier. Celebrate this month as a personal season of change, growth, and good fortune. But it helps you. And sometimes you just need a single word, or you can do bullet points. So consider kind of like doing something like this, and then you use your own speech pattern to create a fluid way of talking. So get it on paper, practice it a few times, and then let it go from there. The only thing that I can't do is practice what I'm doing here, other than the fact that I do this all the time. So I have to be kind of in the flow. So that's kind of my advice. The more you speak, the more comfortable you get with speaking. But even, I would say, especially experienced speakers will be using a script to read from. Whenever you see someone, their eyes kind of moving, a lot of times on TV, they have like this glass thing now that it's projected on so they can look through the glass. So preparation is key. All right. That, my friends, is the main part of the forecast. We're going to now go on to a very special portion, which is meditation and your final card. I'd like you to take a moment now to write a question that you have for me, not in the chat, but on a piece of paper, or just say it out loud, or if it's easy and you've been thinking of it the whole time, you're covered. But focus on something that you want me to look at. Right after the meditation, I'm going to look at that question and give you an answer. Before we do anything, if you haven't hit the thumbs up and subscribe, consider doing that. Like I said, helps people discover my channel when we get a little bit of engagement. When it goes on replay, you can also leave a comment. It helps a lot. As I said, if you missed anything, it'll be available immediately for replay, and then I'll put recaps by tomorrow up on social media. I pinned a comment in the upper corner, and you can find out more about that. For everybody that's been kind enough today, and we've had a lot to give back, thank you. I'm going to say thanks and read all of your names right after we do the meditation. Let's get into the meditation today. And I want to help you with two things. I really want to help you with the heart, opening up the heart. And I really want to help you with respect to the activation, following through on that, because these are almost like bookends for a reading. It was the first and last that I've read so far. So this is about being able to open it, and this is being able to follow it. And so I'd like to kind of take this journey. All right. So when I'm looking at this, we see a lot of water here. Let's use the ocean in today's meditation. I don't think I've used the ocean for a while. I want you to imagine that you're any sea creature that you like. Maybe it's a whale or a dolphin. Maybe there's a type of fish. If you're not comfortable being in the water, you could imagine flying above it. So you could be a seagull or something, but I want you near the water. So if you can be in the water for the sake of the meditation, even better. So imagine that you are in the water and that you are starting to feel this sense of movement and fluidity in your life. No longer are you sort of wondering, which direction do I go? You feel that you are guided. There's a current, basically, that's connecting you. There's a really cool song by Katie Lang, Constant Craving, where she's talking about like this big magnet. Imagine that you're in the water and you feel that sort of magnetic energy pulling you towards where you need to go. It's your heart space. Imagine that it's magnetized and it's leading you toward that perfect future situation. For some of you, it's a partnership. For some of you, it's a project. For some of you, it's getting rid of something, letting something go. But feel that the magnet is pulling you toward that inevitable prize, that gold at the end of the rainbow, that you're headed toward that. And just release and have fun swimming. Some of you could be in a school of fish. Some of you could be alone. Look at what you're seeing on this journey and feel like you're getting closer with each and every sort of like, there's no breath that you would really take, but each and every step that you take. All right. So just now feel that you're being guided, see what spirit's guiding you towards, and allow your heart to speak. All right. I'm going to play this crystal pyramid right now. So I ask that you just relax. And in about 2 minutes, I will answer whatever question you have written on that paper or you're holding in your mind. Okay. So just relax, let the crystal pyramid do the work, and I'll rejoin you after I'm done. Take a deep breath when you're ready. Imagine now that you are at a new shore. You're coming out of the water, exiting your animal totem, transforming back into your human state. And on this new shore, whatever it is that you were drawn toward is waiting for you. Take your first step toward it, reach out a hand and receive. Hold your hands open just like the ace card and receive. And in your mind, if you're willing or ready or feel that it's compatible with where you're at, you can say, I'm ready and willing to receive this and more. Love in the highest possible form, love and abundance in the highest possible form. You can gently open your eyes when you're ready. And let's take a look now at your final card. Hey, Apollo. All right, let's take a look at your final card. And for you, I just want you to focus on what your question is for me. Whatever it was, you don't need to type it. Just look at that piece of paper, say it out loud. Let's see what's coming through for you. Justice. All right, we have justice reversed. So with justice reversed, what I would say first and foremost is many of you are ready to make a break, make a change in your life. This could be leaving something that you've been with for a while, like a job. It could be separating from a relationship. It could be finding some balance, cutting some things out. We talked about cutting the hair. So some of you may be just deciding to trim some things out and basically get things a little bit more manageable. So as a, should I make this change? Should I step away from something? Should I say goodbye to someone or something? The reversal of this card would affirm that you're supposed to make that kind of a change. If it's just a yes, no about a big decision in your life, it could show that you're not ready to make it, because typically you read this card as a no. So just on face value, I would say many of you are stepping into a situation where you need to separate or move on or find that balance. But for some of you, you could be dealing with something where you're not ready. You haven't internalized the decision that it's a yes yet. This can also be a lack of confidence. So like if you're wanting to begin something with someone, like a relationship, a partnership, or some sort of new thing, but in your head, you think, I'm not ready, I'm not worthy, it's not right. That's your biggest challenge right now, is to feel like, yes, it is. I'm ready for this. This is right. I deserve it. Because the truth of the matter is, you showed up at the end when it matters the most here, Libra, with justice. So you absolutely are ready and deserving of this, this new opportunity on the horizon, okay? So you just have to believe it. And I think that's the only thing that's holding some of you back. If someone is treating you unjustly or unfairly, do everything you can to bring these scales into balance, all right? Ultimately, we see a beautiful butterfly or moth in the background. So the change that you're willing and ready to make is for the better. And I love what's on the illustration. We have the heart and we have Mott's feathers. So it's exactly what we were talking about with the weighing of the heart ceremony. So make sure that your heart is light and not heavy. If anything makes it feel heavy, it's not what it should be. Okay, so everything's come full circle. And I knew that there would be a lot of overlap yesterday. And as I was looking at the research of the heart, I'm like, this is going to factor in somehow for Libra. So for those of you that have complementary placements, listen to it. And if you just want to geek out on mythology, because it came through, you can listen to the first portion of my reading and go into the mythology of Mott. So that'll be in my Libra one, which is already live. I'm sorry, my Virgo one, which is already live. So this is about finding that balance. All right. Okay, so let me wrap everything up for today. I just want to say thanks to everybody that showed up. Again, a reminder that you can see all of this on my social media if you'd like to later. Hit the thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't ever done that. On replay, you can always show thanks by clicking that button there, right next to the share button. It's a way to give back. And that's everything in a nutshell. Thanks to everybody that did contribute and to the new channel members. I'm going to welcome you in just a second. One last mention of my book. It's almost the 1-year anniversary of that. If you ever want to check out a sci-fi fantasy that's kind of in the realm of Dune or Lord of the Rings, you can check out the Luminous ones. You can click on the link in my pinned comment for more information. All right. give me just a moment here to open up a new tab, and I'm going to say thank you to everybody that contributed today. We had a lot of great participation, so I want to make sure that I do that. All right, so let's get started here. I'll begin with the new members because I saw we had a couple of new members today. So big welcome to Cindy Meyer and Corey Stewart. I hope you enjoy being a part of this channel, and it's good to have you here, okay? Let's take a look now at those of you that gave back some supers, some super stickers, etc. By the way, to the new members, I'll be placing a special member-only poll tomorrow where you can vote twice, basically, on the weekend topic. And then probably next week, it depends how long it takes to get there, I will post the members-only post for the Q&A when it's ready. All right. Let me just say thanks to everybody who participated today and gave back. So we'll begin at the very beginning here with Lydia. Thank you so much, Lydia. Regina, I appreciate that $50 contribution. Much appreciated. Thank you. Susan and Vicky, and also Diane, thank you for your $50 contribution as well. Another Diane Spencer, so that was Diane Benson, I believe. Diane Spencer. Sheena Davis, Robert Miyoki. Thank you, Robert. Good to see you again. And thank you for that $50 contribution as well. Kathy Ahern, I think. Jesse Liu, Janet Hill. Jacob, also thank you for the $50. Jeannie Davis, Teresa, Libran Soul, AKA Mom or Akamom Wise. I'm not sure how to say that, but thank you. That's probably been the highest contribution I've gotten. So appreciate the $100 one. Yvonne and Wendy as well. Thank you, everyone. This was one of my favorite readings so far. Lots of magical energy coming through and a lot of continuity between this and Virgo. So I don't know how or why, but these two readings this month are connected. I think you would benefit from at least the mythological piece that I put in the Virgo one. So check it out if you'd like. But I did give you a decent summary here, which is the universe is stepping in to really allow you to be happy, to be yourself. And we may live many lifetimes, but we only live this one once. So we should make it count and really feel it, mind, body, and spirit. Thanks, everyone, for your love and support today. I will be live again on the weekend, as I always am on Sundays. I'll be posting a link to this video a little bit later, but you can see the schedule on my website. And later today, I will post the weekend and also Monday's sort of videos so you can set reminders. Up next week are Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. So feel free to join me next week, plus this Sunday at 9 a.m. Central Time, or 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Clearly, I need a break right now, so I'm going to stop. Have a great day, everyone. Again, I'll see you on Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, and you can see the schedule in the link that I just posted. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. Lots of love and light. Bye-bye.